and welcome to this edition of News Leader on 6. I'm Jim Fuller. In tonight's news, Tullahoma citizens are invited to community meetings to help plan their city. The census data is starting to come in, and a developer worked out his differences with the Homeowners Association of Macon Manor. We'll have these stories and more on tonight's News Leader on 6.
Your voice matters. Think Tullahoma 2040 is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the Planning Commission's 20-year growth plan. Public input is critical to the success of this comprehensive plan. Please complete the community survey at tullahomatn.gov, and you can make an impact on the future of Tullahoma by sharing your ideas. We are also inviting you to a series of public meetings starting August 23rd and running through August 26th. Go to tullahomatn.gov for the full schedule and details. Again, you can get the full details and schedules at tullahomatn.gov.
I am tremendously blessed to be living at Parkview and very happy to be part of a loving and caring community.
Best thing you can say is this really a great place to live. That's all there is to it, no doubt about that.
It's your home. You just do what you would if you were at your private home. You know, we love it. It's great.
It's just like having a whole neighborhood around you, and it's fun.
It's just a great place to live.
Hi, I'm Fran Gray with Alzheimer's Tennessee. When you receive a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease for yourself or someone you love, please know that you do not have to go through this journey alone. Alzheimer's Tennessee is here for you to provide support and education, all the help you may need to get through this challenge. Our number is 931-434-2348. We encourage you to give us a call. We're here to help.
Welcome back. Tullahoma Mayor Ray Noes dropped by the studio earlier this week to invite citizens to attend the Tullahoma Vision 2040 meetings running Monday through Thursday of next week. Mayor Noes gives us the details in this video.
Next week, we'll be having stakeholder meetings in town with our consultants that will be in town. Then we'll be having quad meetings, and that will be in every quad in the city, and those quads being where our elementary schools are located. The first one on Monday night will be at Robert E. Lee School. Mm-hmm. The second one will be at East Middle. That'll be on Tuesday evening.
Yes, sir.
And then on the next night, Wednesday evening, will be at Farrah. And then the final one will be at Bel Air on Thursday evening. So everyone will have an opportunity to come and make inputs. This is a community-wide event. Everyone is invited. And in view of the one that at Robert E. Lee next week, we will be postponing our normally scheduled Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting so that we can give all of the board members who are in that quad an opportunity to participate fully at Robert E. Lee that evening. So our regular board meeting will be on the 30th of August.
30th,
yeah.
Okay. If you're a citizen of the city of Tullahoma, you have an opportunity to voice your opinion.
That's correct, and once we collect all this data, we'll get lots of opinions, but we'll have some professionals that are synthesizing these inputs and trying to make the best decisions for the most people in Tullahoma. So it will be a community-based plan. It will not be the city's plan, but every citizen will have an opportunity to participate in this comprehensive Think Tullahoma 2040.
Now, you said before this about the meetings, you said stakeholder meetings. What is a stakeholder meeting?
The stakeholders were groups that the city identified had major interest in the city. There are some people who own more property in Tullahoma than others. They have a bigger stake, if you will.
Developers
and
might
developers
be a stakeholder.
Just is absolutely. So a stakeholder could be many different categories of people, but developers, yes. So,
more skin in the game
well,
than a regular
if you
citizen.
will. But be assured that just because they are stakeholders don't mean that anything. Yes, they're going to have an audience with the consultants, but you as a citizen will have you will be a stakeholder as well.
Manchester experienced significant growth in population over the past decade. While Tullahoma grew, it was at almost half the rate according to the 2020 census data. The census puts the population of Manchester at 12,212, which is a 9.2% growth over the 2010 population of 10,102. Meanwhile, Tullahoma census data shows that Tullahoma population is at 20,339, which is a 4.9% growth when compared to 2010. Coffee County as a whole now has 57,889 residents according to census data. This is a 7% growth from the 52,796 reported in the 2010 census. Coffee County ranked very high in the state for percentage of population to self-respond to the 2020 census, with 71.4% of the population self-responding. That was good enough for 7th best response rate in the entire state of Tennessee. According to census officials, this ensures Coffee County gets more federal funding over the next 10-year cycle. We'll be right back after these messages.
It is wonderful living here. I don't have responsibilities of a house. I don't have all the work that goes with a house. And you can just relax here and be happy.
There's no set thing that you have to do. However, the offerings that they give you, it's wonderful.
I think the biggest thing about Parkview that is most significant to me is that we are family.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
I can think of this wonderful little woman that I had. She said, I can't talk. There's nothing there. And she said, I want my voice back. After the first session, she was loud. I'll never forget this. She said, there's a voice in me still. Whether it's Parkinson's or a stroke or whatever, they are not at the bottom, but they can always get better.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back at the latest Lunch and Learn at D.W. Wilson. TVA zoologist Jesse Troxler spoke to the assembly about cicadas and about the nation's pockets of red-eyed critters.
First of all, we're going to think back to 2004. Do y'all remember kind of what you were doing then? Michael Phelps won his first Olympic medal. Bush defeated Kerry in the election. Facebook was invented that year, and there was a big tsunami in Asia. So seems like not that long ago for some things, but another big thing that happened was the big brood 10 cicada emergence. So that was 17 years ago, and we just had their next emergence just happened. Their last emergence was just this year in 2004. So this is a periodical cicada. Got the big beady red eyes, the big straw that they drink through on the front of their mouth, and orange wings, black body, pretty funny looking. And they come out in different broods. So different parts of the country will get different broods. This year was brood 10. We use the Roman numeral. So 2004 was the previous one, 2021, and we won't see these particular group until 2038. And these are 17-year cicadas. We also have 13-year emerging cicadas, but this is the biggest group of 17-year. So they're in 15 states, and this brood actually gets a lot of attention because if you notice, they're kind of in the upper Midwest around New York, Washington, D.C. A lot of the news outlets get invaded by these cicadas, but also in East Tennessee, where I'm from, and the upper part of the Midwest. A lot in Indiana, Ohio, Cincinnati gets a lot of them. Like we said, brood 10, that's the biggest brood, but there are 17 broods of this type, and then there are 12 broods of the 17-year and 3 broods of the 13-year variety. So they come, all of the cicada, or the periodical cicadas only live in the eastern United States. They're nowhere else in the world. But there are lots of other annual cicadas, like what we're hearing right now. There are more than 3,000 species, and they're all over the world. They're in Europe, Asia, some in Australia, South America. And they're in the genus Cicada, which doesn't mean magic, it's like Latin for a lot. So, because they come out a lot at a time, right? They're in the Hemiptera order, which is the true bugs. They're not beetles, they're true bugs like bed bugs, aphids, stink bugs. They kind of all have that sucking mouth part. So cicadas are in that group. So talk a little bit, so what we have right now, the annual cicadas, you've heard them called dog day cicadas. They come out late summer when it's real hot. They start making some noise. So these are some of the most common ones. We actually had the scissor grinder on the last page. So this is a typical swamp cicada noise. You guys will probably recognize this. Sound familiar? Yeah, probably just have to go outside to hear that one again. So we have probably 7 or 8 species that live here in Tennessee of the annual cicadas. They're actually called dog day cicadas. Anybody know why it's called the dog days? This is a fun fact. Somebody said stars? Way in the back. Yeah, so I'd always heard it was because it's when the dogs get hot and pant and lazy. It's actually because of the constellation Canis Major comes up about this time of year, and it's the brightest star is called Sirius. That's the dog star. So they call these the dog days. That's what the Romans called them. All right, so back to periodical cicadas, though. Skip me all the way to the back. So here's our periodical cicadas. We have our 13-year variety and our 17-year variety. Like we said before, there are three species of the 17-year type, and there's 4 species of the 13-year type. This is a map of all our broods. I'm going to come back to this a couple of times, but all over the eastern United States, we get different broods in different years. So you can see our yellow was what we had in this year in 2021. That was brood 10. These are the species, and they come in 3 groups. So there's the dwarf group, or Cassin's cicadas, and these all look really similar. You almost can't distinguish them except by their size. And in the 17-year group, they're called Cassini, and the 13-year group, they're called Tredicassini. And then the decula group, they've got their septendecula and tridecula for the 13-year type. And then the pharaoh cicadas, because they make a noise that sounds like pharaoh, pharaoh. And they've each got their own. Well, we've got a recording of that too, so you don't have to take my word for it. So yeah, we've got the 13-year, the 17-year, and then just recently discovered there's another 13-year group, or 13-year species in that group, and they live where they overlap. They actually sing just slightly different songs.
More news is coming up in just a moment.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Welcome back. After last month's Planning and Codes Commission meeting, where the Stage 4 Macon Manor subdivision plat was soundly rejected by the neighborhood, the developer spoke to the Homeowners Association and came back to address the board.
Good evening. Josh Sudbury. I'm here in support of our small 5-lot development, now named Macon Manor Section 4. You may recall we were previously here in support of Sudbury Estates. A few things have changed since then. Chief among them is that our development has been approved by the Macon Manor Homeowners Association to be adopted into the Homeowners Association as Macon Manor Phase 4. This is quite an undertaking, and we extend our sincere thanks to Patty and Chuck Dean, president of the HOA, for welcoming us into their home to discuss the project, the Macon Manor HOA board for sitting down with us to talk through how we could work together, to Jeremy Bell and Dr. Angela Bell for both drafting the resolution and organizing the signing effort at their home, and to all of the Macon Manor residents who took time to come to the signing and to reach out to us personally, which allowed us to engage in real and meaningful conversations about this project, as well as other future plans for improving this great city that we now call home. We are looking forward to being all of your neighbors. Now, the project still remains the same as previously submitted, with a few changes in the numbering of the lots. There are 5 total lots, roughly 480 feet of new road connecting at Albemarle with an 80-foot cul-de-sac, all of that which is compliant with the city's requirements. And we are still seeking a variance from the sidewalk requirement and approval of a 25-foot entrance into our remaining property. I won't go into depth regarding the sidewalk requirement, as we feel we covered the reasons for that variance at length in the prior meeting. We believe, in short, that we meet all of the 4 variance requirements, and that number 1, that not building sidewalks are no threat to the public safety, as demonstrated by the city's own findings in its most recent traffic survey and the experience of the neighbors who have lived in Macon Manor. 2, that the variance is unique to our development and not likely to be repeated. 3, that the lack of sidewalks does not alter any of the city's plans, as neither the city nor Macon Manor have any intent to connect these sidewalks to any existing or future sidewalks through at least 2040. Requiring the construction of the sidewalks would be sidewalks to nowhere, which the Planning Commission should avoid in this narrow circumstance. Now, the second issue is the width of the opening to our property from the end of the cul-de-sac. We're requesting approval of a 25-foot opening, which is sufficient only for driveway access, rather than the 50-foot opening, which is recommended by the city's subcommittee to allow for potential future development. The proposed 50-foot requirement comes from Section 4.4 of the subdivision regulations. I won't read the whole provision, but what is important to note is that the requirement is not absolute. The Planning Commission retains discretion to ignore the connectivity index score if it determines that future development is impractical due to, number 1, topography, number 2, an existing development, and or 3, natural features. Okay? These are separate factors, and any one of them by itself is sufficient for the Planning Commission to approve the proposed development without requiring the 50-foot opening. We do not and will not seek future development of the remaining 6.25 acres. That will be our home site, and any future development by a subsequent purchaser would be impractical based on existing developments and natural features.
I have a question for you. So you've stated, and I totally am hearing this, that there is no plans for future, that you do not anticipate selling this to a future developer in years to come. My question for you is, would you be willing to, if we were to waive the connectivity fee, or connectivity index, not fee, would you be willing to add a miscellaneous record to the, like a deed restriction stating that it is not to be subdivided for X amount of years?
Sure.
We would
Sure.
need to make it, as part of your condition, you would have to nail down a year.
Let's say, what's 40 years from now? 2061?
Sure.
Okay.
My name is Jason Garner. I live at 426 Albemarle Drive in Macon Manor. I'm the Vice President of the Homeowners Association at Macon Manor. Just wanted to come forward and represent the Macon Manor HOA, saying that we have undertaken the process of getting the required signatures notarized on the amendment to bring the Sudbury development into Phase 4 of Macon Manor. We've got that done this past weekend, and we also have an open time slot this week where they can also get those signatures notarized at our lawyer's office. We just wanted to express our views on the two things that we want to express on, which would be the requirement of the sidewalk. Aesthetically, to the Macon Manor homeowners, it's really out of place to have a sidewalk in one cul-de-sac that's just going to dump into Albemarle Drive to nowhere. We feel that's kind of a necessary need, and we really like to keep the flow of what we have in Macon Manor already there. The other would be the 50-foot connectivity roadway. The vast majority of the homeowners would rather prefer to see a more narrow entrance to the Sudbury's property. We think that's just more pleasing and more flows with the subdivision as it currently is. So that's our views as the Homeowners Association for Macon Manor, and we appreciate your input. Thanks.
Based on the current commitment on the record of the applicant to record as a miscellaneous record a restricted covenant to prevent future development on the remaining 6-acre piece from a major subdivision, as staff's opinion that would meet the intent of existing development pattern, because the existing development pattern is no longer a 6-acre piece with one house on it. The existing development pattern is in effect now a deed restricted piece of land, a piece of property that prevents further development for a major subdivision. I want to be very clear that that he still has the right to build his house and any accessory structures that go with a typical single-family house. We're talking about a deed restriction for future development of a major subdivision. So I want to make sure that's clear. So if I no longer work at the city and a year from now somebody's going to stop his permits, that was not the intent, is to prevent future major subdivisions. Based on that, I will change my recommendation to approval of the subdivision, but I still recommend a denial of the variance request for the sidewalk.
And I will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Preliminary plat passes with the restrictions and variances. All right. Thank you, Ms. Sudbury.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
We tend to lose our motivation when we have something that's chronic, but you've got to do what you can early on as you can. After I'd exercise like that, I would have a lot of energy to do housework or whatever I needed. Well, I would recommend it highly to anyone at any degree of Parkinson.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Suicide prevention starts with everyday heroes like you. Join us on September 18th at Manchester Rotary Park at 9 a.m. as we walk to fight suicide and raise awareness about mental health. Be a part of the movement turning hope into action and create a culture that's smart about mental health. Funds raised at the walk will benefit the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Sign up at afsp.org/coffeecounty.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Welcome back. On Wednesday, August the 11th, Governor Bill Lee and the Tennessee Department of Education announced the districts and schools earning the 2020-21 Tennessee Excellence in Civics Education Award and unveiled the governor's civics seal at McConnell Elementary School in Hamilton County. The 53 schools and 3 districts receiving this designation will also be recipients of the Governor's Civic Seal, which recognizes schools and districts that prioritize teaching the nation's history and civic values.
As we are on the eve of the first day of school for Hamilton County Schools, our just cause is to ensure that all children thrive and experience a future without limits. And part of that vision is that they understand the importance of history and that we prepare them to be civically engaged citizens.
Making sure that kids are learning the things that make this country what it is. If we don't focus on it, we don't commit to it, the next generation of children will lose the understanding of this exceptional nation that we live in and how uniquely created it was and how unique it is even today.
This move for civics in our state that our country needs, our state needs, which is understanding about government, understanding about how we are a republic and what that means.
We're really looking to promote resources available in civics education, ensuring that this is reaching rural and urban districts and schools.
We believe it's important to teach and demonstrate to students the value of being an engaged citizen and one who understands the importance of history.
When students have the knowledge to explain what's going on in the world, great things do happen.
Stay with us. Your weather forecast is coming up next.
The food at Parkview, well, I haven't had a bad meal there yet.
The food at Parkview is absolutely scrumptious. I mean, it is really good. It's just like home cooking.
And then there are the cookies. Oh my, they bake cookies every day and they are super.
The food is truly incredible, and it's like being on a cruise ship.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Come back, we'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on the state. Our record high was in 1999 at 99 degrees. Record low was in 1943 at 54 degrees. Average high on this day is 87, and the average low is 66. Thunderstorms in the forecast for tonight with a low of 69. Storms likely to occur on Friday with a high of 84 and a low of 70. Storms continue to be likely in Saturday's forecast with a high of 83 and a low of 70. And that's our news leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for News Leader on 6. You have a good evening.